And this is Rick Hall behind the camera for the Letcher County Government Channel. And we are here at the Letcher County Veterans Memorial Museum. And inside we have Darrell Holbrook and Buddy Grubbs. And they're going to give us a tour. So sit back and get ready to have a fun time at the Letcher County Veterans Memorial Museum.
Morning, Mr. Rick.
What do you say? How you doing?
Good to see you again, and good to have you out. I'm Darrell Holbrook. I'm the secretary of the Letcher County Veterans Memorial Museum, and this over here is Mr. Buddy Grubb, and he's the chairman of the board.
Glad you come here today.
Well, thank you guys. We're looking forward to the tour. Now, this is a Monday, so we have the place to ourselves, I understand.
Yes, we're closed on Monday, and like I said earlier, we're open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 to 4. And if any groups need to be come down on Sunday or during the night or on Monday, they can get a hold of me or Buddy, and we can arrange that set up there, you know.
Okay, well, let's get the tour started. Darrell, what are we looking at here?
Rick, this is the man that wore this uniform is the one that helped start this museum, him and Buddy Grubb I was talking about. This is Ben Buster Taylor's uniform that he actually wore when he was in the service. He was 22 years in the service, and he was a Ranger, Green Beret, Special Forces. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. And here's a little history about him, where he was at and what he done. And we sorry about that. We you know, made a stone. Me and Buddy had a stone dedicated to him out front that to show where he'd been and everything like that. And we, you know, actually had all these put on the stone where he was at and what he'd done. And he also was involved with a lot of more things. And I can, you know, as we tour around, I'll show you where we've got a special wall for his things there and everything. So I'll tell you more about that when we get over there, then.
Okay.
And over here on this wall, we have Harry M. Caudle. He's a well-known lawyer here, and we've got a library named after him. It's called the Harry M. Caudle Library, and we've got that named after him. And right here we have the last passenger train that left Flemington, Kentucky. This is in 1962, and right here is called a cow catcher. It's supposed to knock everything off. It gets in the way. But this year is Maynard Hogg, and you see that this didn't do too good of a job because the old bull's still around. You know?
Oh, gosh, that's a good one.
And this year is James M. Caudle uniform. He was Judge Caudle's son, and everybody know that Judge Caudle was a county judge for a long time, and this is his boy, James M. Jr.'s uniform. He retired out of the military as a lieutenant colonel. And this year is Stephen Mark Sexton's uniform. He, his dad is Stephen Carl Sexton. He's run, you know, for the school board and everything for quite a bit, and I know his dad pretty well because he was my teacher in high school. You know, I hate to tell his age, but he taught me in there, and he was a basketball coach also. This wall here is Sergeant Wayne Watts. He's the ROTC instructor up here at LCC, and this is some of the things where he was at and what he done and his awards and things. Then up here I've got my dad and me and my brother, where we all was in service, and my dad and my brother's passed away now, and I'm the only veteran left in the family. This year we got them turned so people can see outside. You might not get a good view at them, but this is Larry Everidge's uniform, and he, you know, is the funeral director down at Everidge Funeral Home, and he was in Vietnam also. And that's the uniform. These uniforms that we're showing, everything is the actual uniforms that these people wore while they was in there. You know, this is Billy Hall. He is dad. If I ain't mistaken, he ended up as a full bird colonel is what they called it. And his dad wanted on the gas station right outside of town here. And he also, his dad was the one that's a ROTC instructor for a long time up here at LCC also. And this is a Navy girl. I don't know her first name. I can't remember it, but her sister is Susan that used to have the Susan Dairy Bar up there at Making. That's her sister there. Yeah. Okay, Rick. This year is it's called a 66 millimeter rocket launcher. It's a tank, anti-tank, and this is what's getting everything right now pretty well. And it's so easy. You just pull this pin, pull this lever, or you just drop it on the ground, everything like that. And all you got to do is pull it out. It's already loaded. You find your distance, fire it, and that's what's taking the tanks, helicopters, and everything down. You know, it's so simple to operate. You know.
Looks like it's pretty lightweight too.
Yeah, it's real light. It's made out of special aluminum. And this year is a little relic that a lot of the guys, they had different shells or ammunition, like this 7.62 for our weapons. And I really don't know the size of all the ones, but you can see this is a larger one. This is a tank canister that come off of the tank shell. These are hand grenades, and they made them a lamp out of it, you know. That was Ben also. Here was some war coinage that was issued during the wartime, and another well-known figure, the James Majority, here at Whitesburg. And but this is just some of the features, you know, that we have on display, you know, right now on here. All right, Rick, we're back here on our back wall. We have some things that people has gave us as far as, like, see, this was the 5th Division camp at Fort McClellan in 1939, 1940. See, like, you can see the smokestacks of different places. That's where their mess tent was, and all the rest of them. That's how they, you know, was. That's how they camped out. They didn't have the barracks and the things they got nowadays and everything to live in. You know, that's the way it was. And a lot of us, you know, had pictures that they take when you was at, you know, your when you was in drill instructor would have all these set up, and they take pictures of us when you was in basic training and everything. And you got different ones, like this is the 19th Infantry Division, and here, and up here at the top we have a submarine base. This belonged to our ex-judge, Carl Smith, brought that in, and you can see some, he said there's 5 submarines that's based there, and you can see a couple right off. You know, you'd have to really look to see the others. Okay, now, Rick, we got a few medals and awards some of the soldiers that's got here, and this here belonged to Kermit Lucas. He's a well-known figure here in Whitesburg. And this year is some of the things that Ben had either captured or acquired while he was in different locations and off the enemy and different things. And this is some of the awards that he got, and was you know, issued the medals and everything like that. This is his case here. And to show you how far we go back, this is the Confederate and Union. This is the actual outfits that they wore, the uniform they wore. This is the Union, and over here is the Confederate. And so this is the 2 actual ones that they wore. This here is the actual saddle that was used in the Confederate Army.
Wow.
That's one of them that they rode. But it's a hard ride, I'd say.
It looks
I
like
wouldn't
it,
ride
man.
that around.
Oh my goodness.
And I really don't know the size of this mortar here. I didn't have a chance to look it up, but everybody's seen them on TV. That's the kind that they just drop in. The firing pin, you know, is in here, and when you drop it in, it just goes. But I don't remember the size of it. and you got your windage and you side by side, however you want to, just adjust it in wherever you're hitting, and then you can just put it right to a pinpoint, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rick, here we have a dress uniform from the Marines. Captain Francis is the one that wore that, and this would be like a uniform, like if you was going out to meet like the president or somebody it's called a black tie outfit. That's what you would wear. Give me what you would wear, and this is what they have that they would wear to involvement, something like that. And right here we have some of the weapons, Rick. Now these weapons actually work, but they don't fire. And why I'm talking about that is I'll show you at the end. These are made for the instructor who is putting out the fellas in basic training, the soldiers, that he can take it apart and hold it up like in front of 100 soldiers, and they can see that part, and then they can take their smaller part off, and then you got a mat that matches the parts where you put it all on. So all these weapons that we're going to be looking at down through here is actually working weapons, but they don't fire, because they're so tremendously big,
Mm-hmm.
But now this is called a BAR, is what they call it. It's a Browning automatic rifle, is what that one is. And I think I was using World War I. And then this is the M1 that came out earlier, later after that one. Browning makes some, and then there's another company made some of it. This is the M1 that they come up with, and then this one down here is the M16 that came out when we was in Vietnam, and it was a lightweight super weapon, just a all-around fantastic gun, And this one here is called a M79 grenade launcher, and there's only two of these in the United States. We got one. There's one in New York, And this here is a 30 caliber machine gun that we have down here. And what I was talking about on these weapons is like, say that a drill instructor would take this off and show everybody could see what he was talking about. Then they would take it and lay it down on the mat off of theirs, and then he would continue just to go on down, and to show you what I was talking about, it worked. See, those actually does work, and that's get your belt started, and then here's your trigger, and you just hang on.
This is a 3.5 rocket launcher that used like say shooting tanks and stuff. You could try to hit the tank at the track. If you were hitting it good, the round would blow the track apart. It weighs 14 pounds, and you got adjustable sides where you pull out and then they adjust on each end. This is the firing mechanism. When you drop your round in, you pull that up, and when you squeeze the trigger, this is electric, and it puts the power to it and it fires. It comes in the middle, top part will come down beside this, and the strap where you carry it. And it's all aluminum, real.
Well, I understand you're pretty familiar with this particular weapon.
Yeah, I carried it the whole time I was in Germany, about 19 and a half months I was over there.
Okay, Rick, this uniform here has amazed us to be that old and us be able to have it in here. It belonged to Esther Kraft. She married, her husband was John Kraft. He was in the Army. He was a sergeant in the Army, and then she was in the Navy, and this was in World War I, 1918. And when they come out of the service, they went up to Fleming Neon, and opened up the first Kraft department store. And then when they, had a chain come down there to Whitesburg Kraft department store, and that's how the Kraft department store got started, is her and her husband. Okay, Rick, right here, I'd like to show this. this is one of the first bulletproof vests, and I'm going to show you. It's solid metal, and it's got one on the back and front, and it's got to weigh 30 pounds. You know, I mean, I don't know how in the world they wore it and kept it going, but that was one of the first bulletproof vests that he came out with.
And to put that into perspective, we were looking at the rocket launcher bazooka, and how much did it weigh again?
14 pounds.
But it's about half.
Yeah, it was. Right here now is all of us years ago, and I don't know if they still use it or not, but Uncle Sam, this was his picture, and it always says, Uncle Sam wants you. You know, and he's always pointing at you wanting to join the military and everything, and this was outside of just about all of the stations that where you was drafted at and everything, draft boards and everything. And this is what they had out front there, you know, wanting you to join the military and everything.
Well, one thing you're not going to probably be able to tell on camera is that it's three-dimensional. It actually is coming out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, you know, you got him, looks like he's really out there with
Yeah,
you know.
it does.
And right here, Rick, is sad. We have a Lieutenant Vernon Sexton. He was killed in, I hope I say this right, Tulo, Italy, or Netolo, Italy. And what it was, there was so many killed over there in this battle, they didn't bring them home. They just made a cemetery over there like it is in Arlington. And they sent, you know, them a letter notifying where he was at, where he's buried at, what plot, just like Arlington is, you know. Mm-hmm. And they called and asked us, would we like to display his things? And we said, well, yeah, for sure. And they sent us his foot locker, and in his foot locker was his flag that draped the coffin. Oh. And it was a 48-star flag, because see, Alaska and Hawaii wasn't a state back then. So this is actually a 48-star flag. And over here we have, everybody knows Lloyd Brown, Dry Fork Market. This was when he was in the service there, and I guess he might get in trouble if this is him hanging out, or maybe that's his buddies there, you know. And but you know, he was another one that played an important part here and everything. And right here are some of the artifacts that we have at you know, today in the past. And of course, they got different. It's called an entrenching tool. The shovel, the end of it folds down that you carry in your back, and a lot of people, you know, today's date is different. This was a canteen that we had where we issued, and it rattled pretty bad. So later on, they went to the plastic type there, so it wouldn't be so noisy. Mm-hmm. This is our American helmet that we wore, but inside, I mean, we had a helmet liner, it's called. It goes on here, and then we had straps here that goes over top of that. Now that right there alone, you know, would make you have humps on you.
Kind of heavy, huh?
It's a heavy. And this is the satchel that they carried their maps and stuff in, and everything. Important papers and all that stuff. And this is a German helmet that someone brought to us, and we you know, would like to display. And right here is one of the newer model cell phones, if you want to look, see what it looks like inside here. But now this was a cell phone back then, you know.
That was vital equipment.
Yeah, that's for sure. And here was one of the first aid kits they issued you. And there's your compressed bandage and your scalpel, and this was your tourniquet, you know. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, they've got what they call an MRE. It's a meal ready to eat. During these here, you just rip them open, and some of them even got the little Bunsen burners in there that create heat, so you can heat them up. But now when we went in, right here, that's pound cake, this cheddar cheese. That's why we got ours in. And be back here just a second. This is a P38. It's called a P38, is what they call it. That right there is, in other words, a can opener.
Ah,
that's what you open. That's what you carried to open it with. And there's a P38 German Luger pistol. And people get them mixed up and everything when you ask for a P38. Now this right here is you just use this for mess kit. That's what you got. knife, fork, and spoon, and it's all aluminum. And once you got through eating your stuff out of it, it didn't take much, just any kind of little stream, water, anything, to just float right out of it just about by itself. Of course, this is the trays and the cups that we had stateside that we got in the mess halls. It was, that's why we ate all out there. And
What's that?
this is I don't believe it opened, but it's in World War II, 1944. It's like the I forget what they call them. I got one at home. You put your stuff in, you build a fire around and cook your stuff in that.
Okay.
This is Edgar Wilson's uniform that he wore. I'm not familiar with him, but he served in Korea and he served in Vietnam. So that's his uniform there. And this is Pascal Fields. Everybody remembers Pascal Fields. They had the gas station right out by the funeral home there on town. And this was called a brown uniform. He had a brown hat, brown belt, brown boots. And that's wool, so it was hot, if you had to wear it in the summer, but mostly it was winter. And this is Vera Hale's uniform. Her and her husband, George retired out of the military, out of the Navy, and both of them had the hot houses up there at Mayking for a while. The greenhouses, they're the one that had them up there, and she was in the Navy. And this fellow here is Buddy Grubbs. He's the chairman I was talking about, chairman of the board here, and this is his uniform that he actually wore, but that mannequin's awful tall for him, and everything. But this was the actual uniform that he wore. And I like to switch over here, and this is the uniform that I wore. And I tell him all the time when the museum is shut down, there's got to be a lot of arguing going on in here between me and him, who's the better looking, And so he said that I would lose if I put a pillow in it like I'm supposed to. So he gives me a hard time about that and everything. This year is Mabel Mullins. She was in the service, and she, I think she died at the age of 97. She was over from Yoli over there on that side, Partridge over there, and she was a nurse in the military. And this wall here, I'm really proud to show this wall off, Rick, and the medals in the case and everything. This is Shelby Prophet. Her dad was Stan Prophet, and she graduated from Whitesburg High School. She went on in to further herself. She was a little old girl that didn't have anything, and she took it on her own to further herself into college, and she majored in chemistry. And I hope I'm telling all these stories right, but I'll probably get corrected on a lot of them later. But she went on in and was awarded the top job in the national defense, missile defense. That's when the first war broke out over in Iraq, Desert Storm, I think. She was in charge of the Scud missile program. Then wow. She was in she got where she was in the Army Tactical Surveillance System and the satellites and all that stuff. Then later on, she got into the NASA program and everything. So it's got a little story history of her right here that was in the paper. And but this is a picture of her right here. And this is her 3 planes that she had right here.
My goodness.
So all this right here come from a little old girl out of a little old holler that, had a desire to make something out of herself. So it goes to show you, if you want to, you can. Okay, right here we have Jimmy Duncan's uniform. He's the POW we met the other day at Memorial Day. This was his uniform, and he was the one that was captured. He was a POW for 32 months. People that don't know what a POW is, that's a prisoner of war. and he was captured over there for 32 months. And this is the uniform that he had. He just didn't have his hat, so he said he'd put that on there. And this year is old Bates, Joe Bates from up at Millstone. I'll tell you more about him when we get over to. We've got a special case of his stuff in it and everything, so I'll talk more about him when we get over there.
All right.
This is a Marine uniform, and what's said about this is, well, I had two different stories, so I'd better stick to the last one. This Charles Isaac was the one that wore this uniform, and then his son joined the Marines, and he had the uniform tailored down to fit him, so both Charles and Charles Isaac Jr. wore the same uniform.
Wow.
And this is, we just got it, got her leaning up against there because what she's got, if you'll switch sides with me right quick, maybe get the back of it.
Sure.
This is a complete parachute.
Oh, man.
And you know, she just ain't got the right weight to hold it up, so we gotta give her a little help. But you know, that's all you gotta do is take that and deploy, and it's ready to go. You know, so that is the actual parachute ready to go. Okay, this uniform here was worn by my cousin, David Holbrook. On this uniform, he was a captain, but he ended up as a lieutenant colonel, and he was in charge of this engineering outfit. So he, put his time in, retired out of the Army. I'm getting so messed up. I just, got so much knowledge of going, can't hardly remember everything. But yeah, he retired out of the service, and he's got a brother that's in the service also. Okay, up the top you see more modern planes, and everything, but down below you see like the planes in World War II. We had a well-known man, Dr. Collins is over here. William Collins, that was his dad's, was in World War II, if I'm not mistaken, and he was a airplane pilot. He flew missions, combat missions, also by himself. With somebody, but he was, in the planes that he flew. This is some of the plaques and pictures that we have where people was in, the different situations, different wars, and things like this, the different medals that people was given, and people just brings in, and as long as they're from Letcher County and they want to bring it, that's fine with us, and we try to display all we can. And this is this statue here is where it stands for the Vietnam veterans. That's what they made it for, Brothers of War they call it, and that was there. A lot of these here is let me get over here. Larry Collins, he was what they call LRP, LRRP. He was in that in Vietnam. It's big time, Ranger and everything there. And so we lost him last year, and it's a sad loss. Everybody remembers, whoever can remember, this year was Ritter, Mr. Ritter. He was the coach and everything at Whitesburg High School, and he played for the New York Knicks, I think is the name of it there.
Yeah, played for the Knicks and 2 Purple Hearts.
yeah, he was in the Marines there, and he's passed away. And then we got another well-known figure, is a preacher, Willie Lamb, and he was in the service and had a special presentation and everything. Okay, right here we have a couple of stones that's marked up here on, they call it Westwood now, and what it is, Sons of the Confederate, the Ben Call account, they was up there trying to find some graves. They go around and try to find the old Confederate soldiers that, they make them new stones and things like that. And they got digging and trying to clear the grass and all that, and they found some bones, and what they had them come in and check, and what it was graves where they was laying side by side, and they was actual men that was killed in the Confederate War. And what it was, they had a hospital there, and when they would die, they would just take them outside and bury them there, and that's how it got its first name, is Graveyard Holler, but now it's called Westwood, from what I understand. And this year is Ben Buster's, the Ben Call account presented this as a Robert E. Lee Service Award, and for ancestral service and honoring all the ancestors, and everything in that category. This is a younger picture of Ben, and this wall we're going to now is to honor Ben for his patriotism and what all he's done for everybody. You can see up here is he was a sheriff for 8 years in Letcher County, and then down here he was a honor guard for President Kennedy's funeral when he got shot, and he was up there in Washington and honor guard him. Over here is when he was in Vietnam. General Westmoreland come to where he was stationed at over there, and he got to meet him and everything. And if you want to just take a few pictures, film a little bit of all his pictures and everything. Most everything is self-described and everything. So like I said, this whole wall down through here, we call it the Ben Wall. And over in Vietnam we had Ben Wall, but we call this the Ben Wall, where he got so many awards and pictures and everything, you just can't say enough about him.
Didn't you tell me about a letter that he had, y'all blowed up? What was that?
Yep, down here, the Senate sent him a letter honoring him for all the stuff that he had done, and that come all the way from the Senate over there. This right here, Rick, is Joe Bates that I was talking about earlier. He was a master diver, and they called him the old hard hat diver, with the big solid helmet that they pump the air and all that into and everything. It looks like this. Now, this is actual him when he went into service. And he said after 30 years of service, this is what he looks like now. But this is actually him here, and he set a world's diving record, 800 and some feet deep, with that outfit. And then his boy got into joined the Navy, and he got, when they come out with the frogmen suits and the air tanks, he set a record on it also. And all this, because see, here's one of the communications they used to have, and this is like the window on the ship. And but he retired out of the Navy, and then he went on to work for like a gas companies for offshore drilling and everything, and then they fly him in out on a helicopter, and one day his flew in and it crashed and killed everybody but him, but it cut his right leg off. So, but he's still living and doing good.
Are these the shoes, I guess you want to call
These are the weight shoes that they use on them uniforms, and you'd have to pick them up to see. It's solid brass on the bottom, solid brass toe, and I tell you what, you can listen, see how heavy they are. If they got their weight belts, but that right there will take you down with no problem too. But that right there would really work. And right here we have this boy, man, I think was up at Seco, or might have been Jenkins. He was in charge of the Golden Knight parachute team, and he was a lieutenant when he started in. I think at the end he ended up as a major, Major Mullins, and this is his year. Thing that we have, some of them. This baton here is what he You can see a picture up here that he was in the air with it. He passed that baton in the air, however they done it, and he made the world record on it also. So that's Major Charles Mullins. And 1964, I think, but it's in the 60s there, they had a parachute team come in and landed on Fleming Neon football field, and because he was with this area noted and everything, they had him lead it, and they landed on the football field and everything. This year, Reagan's uniform wore by Shannon Strange. He played football at Fleming Neon High School, and he went on and was accepted at West Point. And his dad's name was Shannon Strange. But it's amazing how some little boys, can end up making such a career out of themselves. And I'd like to get a little shot of this right here, if we can, Rick. These are hats that we have at. We try to sell to the public for $5 so that we can help pay our way down here at the museum. And these birdhouses is made by Winston Meade and his boy and his dad. And they make these for us out of unused license plates. And they're $20. And that helps us, also on this program. Okay, here is a little picture where we gathered down in Hazard, and down there they got a veteran center, and we at one time I think we had 5 veterans down there that stayed there, and we have Winston Meade from here in Letcher County, and Haven King from down in Perry County, and Winston Meade has never been in the military, but by what he does and how he performs to help the veterans is unbelievable, and you would just about think, that he was born in the military the way he helps everybody. What they do here is during the Mountain Heritage Festival, they have a golf scramble up there, and the money they make, like last year they made like $25,000, and it is spent on the people down at the Veterans Center down there. They go down and they ask him, what would you like for Christmas? What would you like for Christmas? Each individual, they ask them that, Of course, they can't get them a new TV or they can't get them this and that, But they pretty well, get them to what they ask for. And one old fellow said, well, I'd just like to have a box of backer. But you can't do with that, But, we just try to, get them something like they want, Now,
is that called the Paul Patton Veteran Center?
Yes, they just renamed it to Paul Patton.
Do you remember a gentleman in there named Pappy by any chance?
Not right off.
Okay.
But we had we give them a big Christmas dinner and a party, and you've got them in there 80, 85 years old that don't have any family, or maybe one or two. They live away. They might see them, once or twice a year, but we take Santa Claus with us. The veterans of foreign wars here at Weisberg, there's about 4 of us that goes down, and we take Santa Claus, and everybody calls him Red Austin, plays Santa Claus, and we take him with us down there, and we go around to at the big dinner they have when they got their presents already wrapped and everything, and Santa Claus, helps give out the gifts and everything. But the ones that can't come out of the room, it's bedfast and stuff like that, they try to bring them all out, but he will go visit them. Now, if you can imagine and think back when you was a little kid and you first found out who Santa Claus was, how tickled you was, compared to 80-year-old and actually be able to open your eyes and see what's going on and see Santa Claus again, it's so sad, and they lose it. The men and women lose it because they would never expect they're going to see Santa Claus at 80-year-old. It just tickles them so much, to have this happening, and then what would run through their mind, to think back and say, Santa Claus, are they living that young life again, or they, really enjoyed it's just a hard decision to see how everything goes, like that. If anybody has never been down there, you would not believe it. Their floors with shines like there's no, I just can't describe it. And the place is so clean. The people down there, the staff is so well and so good to the patients that's in there and everything. But what I want to get back to that is they have a HALV program. That's called Help a Veteran Every Day. And what that is they just purchased a cemetery over in Greenup County for the veterans. You can be buried there free of charge. And the money come out of there, and that comes through the county court clerk's office out of different, all the counties in Kentucky goes along with this. And back to the birdhouses, they sell them at the county court clerk also, but that goes to the HALV program there. And they take that money and whatever they need, like we go down to the center at Hazard and they need new beds or new chairs and or anything like that. We, buy a lot of the equipment for them. And when we left last time, we asked them what could we do for them, and they had a big room where the family comes down and spend the day with them or something like that. They go in this one big room, and people spilt drinks and pop and stuff like that and stained all the carpet. And they asked us, could we do something with that floor? Well, Winston come up with a project called Hope. And it's just for Letcher County to make the money, to help them with. So we went down and completely had all that carpet tore out and everything, and had that floating floor put a new floor down for them out of the money that was come from Letcher County. Now, Winston Meade makes more money for these projects in Letcher County than just about all the other counties put together. Gosh. So he is couldn't do without him, And another well-known figure was Donnie Manning, and he drove the Jeep for General S. Morgan, So he's a well-known figure here also that everybody knows about it and everything. So this right here, Rick, is just a little few things that we've discussed that people wouldn't know unless they, unless Ben had started this, and about what has happened, with the Letcher County veterans, that they played such an important part in the war that nobody would know about. Okay, right here, he's not from Letcher County, but we all honor him. This little Waldy Murphy is who this is. Most people known him by his movies that he made. He made Army, shows, movies. He played as cowboy, and he was just a little bitty guy, like 5 foot, something like that, I think. And all the service people turned him down, wouldn't let him join because he was too little. And finally, the Army took him, and he went to war, and while everybody else was asleep, and he'd go out and capture the other side by himself, the enemy by himself, and drag them in, 100, 200 at a time. Gosh. And he's the most decorated soldier in World War II, with Waldy Murphy.
Wow.
And this Marcus Adams, he was how he got his name where it was. He took a regiment, and it was all black, and he was a white commander of them, and they done such important maneuvers in the war that people just couldn't believe it. So that him and his regiment got all kinds of medals and everything. Was such a job that they got, and they just couldn't believe it. The difference between the white and the black was, he was a commander and they was that, how they got together to do such things that they needed to do, Mm-hmm. So that just goes to show you, brothers are brothers no matter what, This is some Confederate belt buckles as wore back then. Like you'll see this in the CSA. That's Confederate States of America. That's before the United States of America come in. So that's pretty old there.
Yeah, man.
And on this side we got some pictures. This is Colonel Ben Caudle, for example, and that's who they got their Ben Caudle count after, the Sons of the Confederate. And we just got, touch bases here and there. Like here's Artie Cook from up at Mayking, and he was a POW also. And this is Cecil Holbrook from up at Webb Ranch. Reuben Watts, the judge. Everybody knows Reuben Watts. And this was him when he was in the service. And then I'd like to switch over here, Rick. This is the actual document. This was copied from that. And this is the surrender of Japan. This was copied back then because you can see the color of the paper and everything. That this is actual signatures right here, like the United States and all of them all the way down. See, now here's the Supreme Commander of the Allied Powers is Douglas MacArthur. See, so all the people signed that, bringing the war to the end. Here we got some, we're in the library, and we got a display of books from different wars, and goes all the way back. And like in this book here, we've got 3 of them. That was from Neon, Kentucky, and Neon, Kentucky, and Neon, Kentucky. So you see the all local boys that's in these books, a lot of them. And we just, we've got CDs, we got movies, and we got books. You could spend just about a whole day just right in here looking and, reading the information that's come up and everything that we've got on display. Okay, Rick, as we end our tour here, I'd like to just bring up a few different statistics of the wars that the United States has participated in. And like World War I started July the 28th, 1914, and it ended November the 11th, 1918. World War I took the lives of twice as many members of the armed forces as all major wars from 1790 to 1913 put together. The United States gave up 116,516 soldiers who gave up their life for freedom. World War II started on November the 7th, 1941 and ended September the 2nd, 1945. It killed more persons, cost more money, damaged more property, affected more people, and probably caused more far-reaching changes than any other war in history. The United States had 405,399 American soldiers lost their lives in this war to let us live in our land of peace. The Korean War started in June 25, 1950 and ended July 27, 1953. This war was sometimes described as a police action. Now they call it the Forgotten War. It was one of the bloodiest wars in history. It claimed the lives of 54,246 Americans. The Vietnam War, which I participated in, started in 1957 and ended in 1975, April 30th. The Vietnam War was the longest war that the United States took part in. 2,700,000 American soldiers served in the Vietnam War. 58,221 lost their lives, but in 1999 they updated it to 58,267. There are still 2,499 people or soldiers missing in action in Vietnam. And we have got so far away. I know you don't bring religion and everything like that, but away from God in this country is pathetic. Just to show you what I'm talking about is George Washington got on his knees before he crossed the Delaware and prayed for this country. Abraham Lincoln got on his knees and prayed for this country. Theodore Roosevelt got on his knees and prayed for this country. And but since then, what it's come down to is my mother got on her knees and prayed for me in Vietnam. This country has to get back to where its roots came from. In God we trust. And I'd like to close by just saying I want to thank everybody that backs us up down here at the museum, that gives us credit, all our senators, representatives. This museum started in 2003 of September, and it's still going strong. And like we said, we got more artifacts and we got more pictures and things to put out, but we have to add on before we do that because we're at our complete capacity right now. And we would just like to thank everybody that helps us do what we do.
Well, Darrell, I want to say a couple of things before I let you go real quick. Number one, for the viewers who've been watching this, I want you to know that there has been no second takes. Everything that Darrell has done has been a first take, so you've done a great job today. We've learned a whole lot of things that we didn't know about our veterans, and we just really do appreciate all that you do for Letcher County and naturally your service to our country. Really appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much, Rick.
Okay. Oh, we've got somebody in the Jeep here. What's going on? Hey, buddy.
Hi, Rick. This is a 1955 Willis Jeep. It was used back in the early 50s. Donated to the museum. And I would like to thank you for coming and doing all these interviews of the museum.
You're more than welcome.
One thing I would like to get out to the public, any Vietnam veteran that's had heart attacks or heart surgeries, certain cancers or diabetes, the federal government is letting a lot of that out now. You could go and file a case, and a whole lot would have been getting pretty good results from a few. I think 4 out of the last 5 I've had filed has got 100%. So I think we need to get that out to all the Vietnam veterans, and maybe that'll help them a lot.
Well, I tell you, there's maybe 1 or 2 last things I'd like for you to show us, okay?
Okay. Rick, this is a 3/4 ton Army truck that's been donated to the museum. It's used most to carry a little supplies of some troops in it, but it's a thing that's been used in the past for ever and ever. Now they got bigger ones and everything.
Okay.
This is a M60A3 mine battle tank that comes from the Window Ford Training Center in the lower end of Kentucky. And me and Winston Lee compiled papers to try to get it, and we got everything going. And Haven King from Curry County, he owned the coal company. He took the trucks and went and got it and hauled it in for us.
How long have you guys had the tank, buddy?
We've had it, I'm saying about 3 years now.
These things, you see them on TV, and you don't realize how big they are. You get face to face.
What it's called an M60 is right at the 60 ton tank weight. That's fully equipped.
Crickets.
We had a long time. And this is a 2.5 ton truck. They use them for hauling ammunition, mess truck, and troops. But this has been going on forever and ever. That's what, when I was in there in 1960, they was old then, but they just modernized stuff. But this was some of the old in 60, 62 when I was in there.
Well, for Mr. Buddy Grubbs and Darrell Holbrook, this is Rick Hall behind the camera for the Letcher County Government Channel.
Rick, there's a few more things that I just wanted to add it on to there that, you know, when we're inside, we get to talking and trying to tell everybody you forget. I would just like to thank our Leslie Combs and Johnny Ray Turner for helping us out with our Sephir's tax and everything. And another thing I'd like the public to know that this museum is funded by the Letcher County Physical Court, and without them, it just wouldn't be possible to have. And I want to thank all them over there that we go to a meeting, whatever we ask for, they all agree and vote on it to let us have it. And another thing about this museum is what this will help today is the people who are not able to get out as bedfast or handicapped and would never be able to see what the Letcher County Veterans Museum is all about. This will help them be able to see it, and they will know what we're participating all about in the county.
Okay, thank you a whole lot.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.